Welcome back to the next lesson. So in this lesson, I'm going to walk you through this user interface as it applies to what we want to use ZBrush for in this course. Alright, so first of all, we'll go through alphas. So one of the things I like doing when I teach, stuff like this is that I hate just telling you theories, right? I just giving you theory, okay, this is for this, this is for this, and I don't actually use it. You understand? So basically I don't teach like that, right? So I'll just go over, like for example, this is a color in case you want to change color for your primitive. In ZBrush it's called primitive, or your mesh. All right, this is for brushes. Usually they are not active because there is no mesh here. So let me quickly add this guy here. Alright, so this is now active. So if I come here, brush, you see this, all my brushes are active. If I double click it, you see a lot of brushes here. There are a lot of them, right? So we may end up using just 2 to 3 brushes rather throughout the course, right? Or even 4 throughout the course. Okay, draw, I don't really use this much, right? So this is to adjust brush size, which you can still find the same thing here. So some of these tools are repeated in different areas. So dynamics, okay, ZBrush just released 2021, so this was not here before. So we just had dynamics. I've not used this yet, so I'm hoping to use it for my cloth simulation, or maybe adding cloths to characters. So I haven't used it yet. So this is new. This edit, I haven't used it before. File, it's the same thing as file, open, save as, and you can do the same thing as Control S to save. Layers, I haven't really used this though. Light, so this controls the light in the scene. Alright, so it's not really active here because it's just one light we have. So if you double click on each and every one of them to activate them. Macro, I don't even know what this is. Marker, I don't use it. Material, it's the same thing here. So they are pretty much repeated at different locations. So movie, maybe you want to record your screen, or maybe you want to do a turntable animation, you want to take a snapshot of your screen, you want to do a time lapse of your recording, however you want to do it. Right, so we'll use this much later. So some of these things are better off understood when it's explained. All these user preferences is better off understood when it's explained. Right, so is this configure your UI, for example. If you have this is UI, right? So if you have a customized UI you want to load, you can load it here. You can also customize your UI and save it, just that you can use it some other time. So this is quick info. If I hover around it, you see this. If I hover around anything, you see it gives you quick info of what it does. So that's how to customize it. Maybe you want it to be reduced, you want it to delay. Yeah, so like I said, it's better off understood when it's in use. So interface. So some of you, when you install ZBrush, for example, when you install ZBrush, your interface icon will be so big, right? So what you want to do is reduce the UI buttons under preference, interface. You want to reduce the button, you want to reduce the size. I've not really used all these. All I do is just reduce the buttons such that I could see everything. So like these buttons here are more. I mean, if you launch ZBrush for the first time, but some of them will be hidden, so you may want to reduce the buttons so that you would see the rest that are hidden under. right? So you want to maybe reduce the button to like a 48, reduce it a bit, right? So it will tell you, I've reduced mine already, so it will tell you it will apply when ZBrush is reloaded. So when you reduce it, you want to close down ZBrush and reload it again, so it will apply. That's how it works, right? It doesn't just apply immediately. No, that's what makes ZBrush different from other softwares. I still don't know why that happens anyway. So it is for rendering, stencil, strokes, textures. All these will be better off understood. Like tools is the same thing you find here, so they are pretty much the same thing at different locations. So don't be scared of like transform. This is the same thing here, right? And Z plugin, this is understood when I would teach about it, right? So that's basically it though. So okay, let me quickly go over how some of you are wondering how I'm rotating it. So I'm actually using a tab for this course, but you can use your mouse. Just click your left mouse button to rotate the way I'm doing, right? Then you hold down Alt, click and release Alt to zoom in, zoom out. I know that will be hard for you the first time, but the more you do it, you'll understand how it's done. So you hold, when you're rotating, if you press Shift, it will snap at a particular rotation point. So if I rotate it again to the side and press Shift while I'm rotating, it will snap. So for Alt, you hold down Alt, it will activate just where my cursor is. Move it a bit, release Alt while your pen or maybe your mouse is still held down, your left mouse button is still held down. You'll be able to zoom in and zoom out. However, there's a much easier way to do it if it's hard. So here you would find the same thing. So if you click and drag this part, you'll be able to do the same thing. So this is to pan, this is to pan, this is to zoom in, right? It's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so while you rotate, all right? So you could do that if you find it difficult to use the Alt option. So use press here, click and drag to zoom in, right? So this is for the actual frame. So it frames you back to, it zooms to a particular frame for you. And I don't really use this too. So just use these two alone to zoom in, to pan, right? To zoom in, pan. So you just keep practicing, then click on the windows to rotate however you want. So you just keep playing with it. So some of you are asking, okay, how did I add this particular mesh? They're called meshes or primitive in some software. Yeah, I'm going to show you that in a bit. So the next one is perspective. To view it in perspective, this is in perspective mode. Depending on how you're sculpting, you may want to look at it in different views, in perspective and orthographic. So if I deselect it, it goes to orthographic mode, so it just shows me just the way it is. If I click it, it gives me perspective, right? So this is, if I zoom out now, hold down Shift, press Shift while I'm rotating, let it snap. So you discover there's a floor here, so if I want to deactivate that floor, I can do that, right? So the floor is not there again. Are we together? So this is another way. If you activate that floor now, you'll notice there are different coordinates. There's the XYZ coordinate. So if I select X, it gives us a floor on the side. If I select Z, it gives us another floor. I haven't used this, before, so I usually want to leave it at the Y coordinate, you know, just not to confuse myself. Abby, so let's not confuse ourselves. So if I hold down Alt while I'm clicking and zoom out, so I'm able to zoom into my character and zoom out. So you just keep practicing that. So the next one is, this is new. So when you press, if this is new, this wasn't available, this wasn't around in the previous version. And by the way, I'm using ZBrush 2021 for this course, such that in people who are going to watch it over time will just get used to the new, you know, software, so they don't have to be, you know, transiting to different software as it goes, as they go on. So this is for camera lock, to lock the view. So when I click this, I can't view, I can't, you know, rotate or maybe zoom out. Can I zoom out? Okay, yeah, I can zoom out, but I can't, you know, actually rotate it. But I can pan, right? Yeah, I can pan. So it locks me to a particular view, such that if I mistakenly click outside there, it doesn't, you know. By the way, this is a new brush, and it's for wrinkle. I mean, I've been anticipating this brush for a long time, right? To use it in creating maybe my bed sheets and all. So we're going to get to that. You may just play around it and all. Okay, so let me Control Z to undo that. Remember, let's Control Z to undo. All right. So that's it. So I would just unlock this. Rotate axis, so it rotates in different axes. You get, if you press Y, it only rotates in the Y. If you press X, it only rotates in X axis. Framing frames it to, gives you an actual, it reframes you back to this is the frame, right? Let me show you. This is like the camera, this white, you know, rectangle you see, this is a camera view where you're seeing the character, right? Anything outside here is what will be rendered. Anything that goes outside here won't be rendered, but everything inside this frame is what's going to be rendered. So it's going to frame it for you here. Okay, so there's the move. Yeah, you have to move your move tool, and there's zoom 3D. Okay, zoom in and zoom out. Also, there is the rotate here. So actually, you know, if you don't want to do this anyway, it's also the rotate here. All right. Now there are more buttons below, right? So we are going to do that thing I told you when I said you should reduce the icon. Okay. Remember, there's your move tool. You can move here. All right. You can also do the same thing here, by the way. But I think this is for panning the whole frame, because I noticed that it pans the whole frame. So while this other move, it pans the whole, like the workspace itself. So this is for zoom in, zoom out, the 3D viewport, and there's the rotate. All right, so just keep playing with it. So, and I'll close this by showing you how to reduce the icon. All right. Sorry, I have cold. So when I come here to preference, come to interface, it opens another icon. So I would want to reduce my button size so that I'll be able to see the rest here. All right. So some of you, your screens might be really big, so you would see all the, you know, the buttons. So you may not have to reduce them. So, but me, I'll reduce mine to like maybe 38. 38 is fine. He said the UI will be adjusted the next time you start ZBrush. Okay. Press escape. So let's shut down ZBrush. It's going to ask you to save. I don't want to save. No. So when I close ZBrush and launch it again, it would have I launch ZBrush again. ta-da, we have more buttons here. So we still have more here. So remember, it stopped at rotate, so we still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm still wondering, are they more? Right? So you see now the buttons are reduced, right? They're a bit smaller. Okay, so in the next lesson we're going to go over adding primitive, like your sphere, your, you know, adding you go over this light box. What you're saying is called light box. So if I click here, it's activate and deactivate. So the next lesson, that's what we're going to go over quickly, so while we start sculpting and use these tools, so you better understand them. All right, so see you in the next lesson. Bye.